Hey, Pastor Junior. Okay, I got another word. I gotta hurry because I'm already late. Pero mira, dice things. Well, it says things always have a way of working out. Never underestimate the power of prayer, faith, and love. Right? With the statement que dice, things always have a way of working out. Never underestimate the power of what? Of prayer, of faith, and of love. You know, maybe you might be in a situation where you might need this. I know I need this right now. And I'm reading it, I'm like, man, that's what I need right now. Never underestimate the power of prayer, faith, and love. Right? Once again, things always have a way of working out. Never underestimate the power of what? Of prayer, of what? Of faith, and what? And of love. So I was thinking of love again. Pues ahí vamos otra vez, right? But it reminded me of Song of Solomon, right? The Song of Solomon. Solomon wrote 3 books, right? He wrote the book of Proverbs. Well, wait a minute. He wrote the Song of Solomon in his younger years, right? When he, as a young man, vamos a ponerle, as a young man, right? And then he wrote the book of Proverbs in his middle ages, right? And then in his older years, right? He wrote the book of Ecclesiastes. The book of Ecclesiastes teaches us how to be happy, and it's also a book of regrets. Now, I'm sure many of us have regrets that we've done in the past, right? So the book of regrets, the Song of Solomon teaches us how to love, and the book of Proverbs teaches us wisdom. Right? Well, what is wisdom? Well, wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is the ability to apply knowledge to a given situation, right? You might be in a situation where you might need this right now. Right? Because what's the title of our message this morning? Well, things always have a way of working out. Never underestimate the power of what? Of prayer, of faith, and of love, right? So that reminded me of the Song of Solomon, right? Because that's where I'm going. Mira, the Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 7 says this. It says, many waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot wash it away. If one were to give all the wealth of his house for love, it would be utterly scorned. Utterly scorned. It would be utterly scorned. Right? I mean, I don't like that translation. Creo que es el NIV. I prefer the King James or the New King James. Pero once again, many waters cannot quench love. Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 7. Rivers cannot wash it away. If one were to give all the wealth of his house for love, it would be utterly scorned, right? Why? Because, why? Because love is beyond purchase, right? Why? Because love is beyond purchase. Love is beyond purchase. If a man tried to buy this kind of love with all his wealth, he would be utterly scorned, right? He would be utterly scorned. Note that genuine love isn't a transaction. It's a gift that cannot be bargained for or sold, right? Ahí te va. If a man tried to buy this kind of love with all his wealth, he would be utterly scorned. Right? He would be utterly scorned, right? Note that genuine love isn't a transaction. Genuine love isn't a transaction. It's a gift that cannot be bargained for or sold. Amen? Just a word of encouragement.